Hey guys, should be up and running now. Being a little bit slow there. Let's see, I still don't see it coming up. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Okay, let me make sure. Okay. So, if everyone's doing well, been a wild week. Okay, I think we're good. Well, today I wanted to go over a few things, discuss some stuff. But first, one thing I decided I want to kind of set as a rule. I've said before, I'm not too concerned about what people say too much about them coming after me, accusing me of stuff, because most of it I simply know is false. And so I've got nothing to worry about with that. But, hey, Steven, how's it going? Um, what I do want to do is kind of set it where don't go after other people in the chat, okay? When you're doing comments on the videos, just stick to talking to me, or if you're going to go respond to other people's, don't be a jerk about it, okay? That's the one thing I will take down different posts for now, okay? Previous stuff I won't, but if that kind of thing goes on after, I'm going to start taking it down. Just want to kind of set that in place. Other thing, I mentioned this on Facebook. I've been hearing from a couple of friends. They're finding out about a lot more that was going on beyond what we discussed on the one video about them letting the former sex offender back in at Homestead. I found out that they've got a lot more that's happened, and from what I've heard, they usually deny it. I don't have a whole lot yet, but from a couple sources, that's what I've heard. See if we find out anything more later. But rather curious, just wondering how many times does something come up and they just kind of brush it off? Wouldn't be too surprised. But kind of gotta wait until more confirmation, more details, more stuff in, but could be beyond what I thought. So that'll get interesting. And then today, one thing I wanted to kind of bring up, which we'll do in a little bit, is I was on Google Earth. I went to Google Earth and I actually looked up the location for Homestead. What was interesting was getting to have different spots, buildings, etc., pointed out to me by a former member. And that really was interesting to look at the layout. It kind of gave me a good idea of how they kind of did things. And some things were really, really interesting. And then I touched somebody else to get maybe more up-to-date info, because they've been there more recently, and it really got interesting. So, I was thinking I'd look at that, see if anybody who's joining in today could maybe give me a little bit more. Just kind of want to have an idea of exactly how their community is built. Since I've never been there myself, I've only seen certain photos here and there. I'd like to have a better idea of exactly where things are. So we'll get into that a bit. But I do have to say thanks so much, guys. It's been really neat doing this. I mean, even people who are coming after, accusing of lying and stuff, it's it's kind of neat to me because it kind of shows me, okay, this is a topic that matters. This isn't something people just ignore. So it's kind of been nice to see more and more traffic coming, more and more people noticing. But one thing I would like to ask, if anybody knows of a good channel, website, anything that really looks into this kind of thing, that maybe doesn't know much about Homestead yet, or could help expose it further, I would really like to know, because I'm trying to get in contact with others. So far, I've had about, I'd say 10 contact me. I'd say one seems really interested in doing some stuff. Another one is pretty interested, but more in doing their own kind of approach, their own thing. Another one is starting to look into it a bit. But then most of the ones that contacted me simply said they'd never heard of it. So I don't have a whole lot of places yet really looking into it. So if anybody has any suggestions, knows of any other channels, websites that look into this kind of thing, I would really appreciate it. Just feel like it would really help if I could get more perspectives, more people really looking into it to kind of double check what I've been hearing, what I've been shown. That would help a lot. But let's go ahead and take a look at Google Earth. So here we are. Stephen, I'm sure it's changed a lot since you've been there, but what I'm trying to figure out is exactly how this works, because I can tell from what I see, this seems to be their main meeting area. Then, from what I've been told, out here is where the Adams live. They seem to have several homes they built over here. I don't know for certain exactly which ones are whose yet. Still trying to figure that out. One thing I found really kind of interesting is over here, right in the middle of all these trees, they've got this open field where they're putting all these solar panels. Oh, okay, so you've been there recently. Nice. Man, I can't even imagine how much this would cost. Kind of smart, but man, it's interesting to kind of put it out here, kind of away from everything else, but not too surprised they're putting that up. Boy, that's a lot of them. There's a lot of empty area here, too. Still trying to figure out exactly where their property ends. Seems to be everything here. I don't know how much of this is, so I'm still trying to narrow that down. The other thing I'm trying to figure out is where they do their fairs. Noticing they got plenty of area on every side where they could do it. I'm just not sure where yet. It's the kind of thing I'm still trying to figure out. The other thing here, I'm not sure if this is like some kind of park or something. I've been wondering what this area right here is. This building really looks like a worship area. It seems to be the one they usually put in a lot of their photos, so pretty confident of what this is. Compared to the cars, looks like a pretty good size. The other thing that was interesting was one person told me that they are building a new home out here for Ozzy. I just don't see where yet, or maybe in this photo it's finished, but I don't know which one that is. So, still trying to figure that out. And then there are some things I really have no clue what to make of, like this. I don't know what this is right here. It's just interesting to look at this and get a better idea of how it's put together. Just surprises me how much empty space I see. Kind of hard doing this because I can tell there's still a big delay in the video. I want to make sure I don't get too far ahead. So there's Waco down there and they're up here. So it's not too far away. One thing I haven't done yet that I do want to do is look into some of the other locations, the history of what's in Waco, but haven't really gotten around to that yet. Still trying to figure out the different places are in their property. So that's what I've been really looking at, trying to figure out. So if anybody's information, would really appreciate you sending that to me. We'll see. I mean, it's not crucial. It's just it would really give me a better image of what's going on when I read some of their history, look at some of the videos on their website, realize what I'm looking at. So just would appreciate that. The other thing I want to get at, I'd say this week, more than any other, one thing I've been noticing from different things I've been told, different things that have been said, the similarities to different cults is far more than I thought. There were a lot of things I kind of assumed they didn't do, and I'm seeing more and more of it. So it's getting harder and harder to deny that. But I'm just shocked, to be honest, and impressed. I mean, it's what, they've been around for like 40 years, more than that, and still, even though we can tell already things got really strict and some bad things started coming out in the 90s. It's interesting it's gone this long and hardly any notice of it has been taken. Hardly anybody thinks anything of it. Which, I say, it's pretty impressive, given the size especially. But the more I look into it, the more and more I see is there. It's just hidden so deep. Hardly anybody seems to be willing to really look into it. So, that's what's been really tough, because, as I've explained before, I'm kind of limited into how much I can do. Like, I'm not going to be able to take a trip out there. Definitely not one who's going to be able to go, traveling around looking at different things as far as their history and stuff. So it's really, really tough finding all this stuff, finding more things, but not being able to do as much. So it's been it's been sad, frustrating, exciting, all of that at once, because some of what I'm hearing is not nice to hear. And at the same time, the other thing I keep getting more and more confirmation of is most people there have no clue. Most people there don't know what's going on because they've got so much, so many layers, so many levels to it that not too many people know what's really going on. And that just really is sad to me. People joining that, people giving so much up, getting into that community and not realizing what they're really being part of. It's been sad seeing more and more of that as I've been looking into it further and further. Also gotten another contact who's going to send me some more info. Hoping to try order some more books. I don't know if they'll be as eager to send them out to me. We'll see what happens, but I am thinking of ordering a couple more of Blair Adams' books soon to go through some more of them. So there's going to be a lot more research to do. If I get them. We'll see. But I really do want to do more on these live streams. Let's talk about some of the other side of things. From now on, I want to make my normal videos about these documents, about their teachings, about their theology, etc. And do live streams more about the community, what's actually done there, the other side of it, the other side of the coin. I don't know if I'll really be able to do a lot with that. I don't know how often I'll be able to do the live streams if I do that. Because it's not too often I get much info coming in on that. But that's what I'd like to do in the future. So even information on that would definitely be helpful because I'm realizing I need to start understanding more of this, because the more I understand of the way they do things, the more I'll understand of what's behind the teaching. So I really need to start looking into those sides of things I haven't before. Along with that, I also want to look into the history more. So any of that would be helpful because I want to know a little bit more detail of how their teachings changed, how their teachings developed, where it was at the start to where it is now, things like that. Okay, so you mean they wrote it, but they gave him credit for the writing? Because I know that those 6 books, they suggest, if you want to know their basic teachings, are from his messages. But do you mean the other ones were written by other people, not by him? Okay. Wow. Well, that's even more disturbing if they feel like they need to put his name on it. Wow, that's really curious then. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that little bit more too then. Did they did they always write it together, or did they like individual people work on individual books? How did they do that? Okay, I see. So that's interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that. Probably do a little bit more looking into what might have been written by him and what isn't. Huh. Still do want to find more of his messages, more recordings of those, but right now I'm kind of in a position where I can't get those, so I'm gonna have to go with the books. Um, Probably have to throw the names by you to find out who wrote them, but man, if that's the case, from what I've heard from other people, that's really interesting. Did he do much to like approve of them? Did they always run it by him, or did they just do it themselves and then just add his name? I remember there were a lot of books in there that kind of surprised me. It was just odd to me with what they'd said to me about how it's not a cult because it's multiple people, but then everything was like given to him. Okay, so it depends on the book, probably on the topic, right? That would make sense. I could see that. Not too surprising. So I'll guess the one about education was not by Blair Adams, because that one definitely had some weird wording in it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that a bit. Maybe just read some excerpts from it and see if I can figure out what's his, what's not. Probably give me a better idea of which ones to read. Thanks, that'll be helpful. Okay. Yeah, that would be a little more tricky to know all the details of which ones. Yeah, I remember getting these other books, I was kind of shocked because most of them are pretty short, less than 100 to maybe 250. And then that one was massive. So I was just shocked that you'd have all these books of theology and stuff that's hardly anything, and then you'd have a book just on teaching that's massive. So I'd say from the beginning I was a little suspicious on that one. But also, that was one of the ones that they made more public because that was when I was able to get on Amazon, so that would also make sense of it. Okay. Okay, that definitely explains a few things. I'm gonna have to go back through those books and see if I can figure out which ones are his, which ones aren't. That'll be interesting to look at. But yeah, like I was saying, it's like interesting how some of them you don't get anywhere else. You've got to go to their catalog. Okay, that is ironic. I like that. Uh, wow. Now I want to read that one more than anything. I mean, I've read a few books on writing myself because well, that was my study. So when I think of that, I just know what he's going to be like because I've read a couple, and the one thing I've noticed is the ones who really know how to teach are always different from those who really know how to write. It's very ironic how it works. But him, I would guess, would probably be the exception because what I noticed is usually when somebody starts giving lessons, writing about how to write, if they're a great writer, then their book on is probably going to be too strict. Like, you've got to do it this way, you've got to do it the way I did, you've got to, and usually that doesn't work. But then I notice the ones who their writing isn't that great, when they go to how to teach it, they really do a much better job. That'll help a lot more people. However, from what I've read in the books, my guess in this case would be quite different. Probably assume, you got to do it this way and not be the best writer. That'd be my suspicion, but really makes me want to read it now. Yeah, I'm gonna have to search that one and start digging in, because that could be a lot of fun. Makes me wonder how much he tried to teach the other people that were writing there. That could explain even more. Yeah, so much more research to do. And I had a few other people tell me they try to come on. Haven't seen them yet, but maybe they're busy. That's the thing. I hope to get into more of the map because I know a couple people who are wanting to help narrow that down. So eventually, might even do something more with that when we do these streams. Maybe you can get more into what was built when. Most of all, I really want to know how much is their property and how much is not. That's what I'm really trying to figure out. Okay. So, if I understood correctly, um, they left Colorado like what, mid early 80s, or am I remembering it correctly? I'm trying to recall when that was. And I'm still curious exactly what made them move on from Colorado. Because everything I've heard has been very vague on that. I've never gotten much of anything as to what really drove them to go to Texas instead. So, still trying to figure that out. Okay, that makes sense. That was, yeah, that's about what I was thinking. So yeah, that makes sense of a lot of it actually. Hmm. Wonder if that led to more changes, and that's what started to do it. Yeah, there's so much the history that I've seen that's been very vague. So I should go and check the dates of the publication of the books too when I'm doing this. Oh, interesting. So it was with the government. Okay, I see. I what I'd heard like from some of their info, what they've shared, I heard it was more of a problem of people around them, of neighbors, not the state. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, that was the one thing I could never get any detail on, but most of what I looked on their site and places, it sounded like it was just neighbors. So, huh. Well, thanks for that. That explains it a little bit better. It makes sense why they'd go to Texas if that was the issue too. And that I know that would be very frustrating. Oh, interesting. Okay, so so they were kind of indirectly involved on that. Okay, I see. So they had a connection. They just weren't the main cause of what was going on. Yeah, that's one thing I do find it's been happening. The more and more I look into this, is almost every time it's not like one thing is false and one thing is right. It's more of it was a bit of both. Okay, thanks for that, Ben. There, I'll look into that one. Yeah, I'd heard something about having multiple spots of the land. I didn't know they really started too much business until after they got to Texas, though. Interesting. So yeah, thanks for that info. That really helps put the pieces together. I mean, that's been a big part of this is reading the books by Blair, seeing some of what he says happened, watching their videos, seeing some of what they say happened, and then finding how the two fit together. They really don't. They either don't know how to tell a story or they just like to make it confusing. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, and we'll keep looking into that. Okay. So that a few spots did also make me wonder a little bit more of where exactly they were located when they were back in New York and New Jersey, how that worked. But yeah, still, Colorado was the one that seemed to be the most untold part of the story. So that does explain it a lot better. I need to see if I can do something about this delay on the chat. There's something messing with it. So we'll have to see if future streams we can fix that issue. It can always be a frustrating thing to have. But thanks for all the info. I'll definitely be looking into that again. If any of you want to maybe email me or however you want to do it, just send me more info on exactly how that map is laid out there that I've been looking at. Just really would like to know how they put that together, like where do most people live, things like that. Where are their businesses, especially? That's one thing I'm really curious about because it's kind of hard to tell what in that is homes, what is in that is more of their like church, or what is actually businesses. So that's another thing I really would like to figure out on that. So anything you guys can send me on that later, that'd be great. But right now, I think that was a good start. I'll try to do this again as soon as I get some more info. Like I said, I want to keep this streaming just for all the side issues, not the teachings. So we can separate it that way. And until I get more information on that, things pick up a bit more. Stream's not going to be able to be that often, but still try to do it. You mean it was there when I was looking at it? Let me see if I can bring it back up. Why does it give me trouble? Huh, I can't. Let's see if I can. Come on. Why is it doing this? Okay, there we go. So we're saying it was already showing up somewhere, or oh, would that be it? I don't know. Maybe that. Yeah, that would kind of make sense. Maybe that's where it is. I don't know. Oh, okay. So is that on their website? Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that later. Figure that out. Okay, so probably not there. All right, I'll have to see if I can dig that up. Okay, so they just hand that out. Well, I have seen different videos of people visiting there and those things and talking about it, so maybe they put it up somewhere and I can find it that way. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, if you guys have anything more like that, you can just email me, let me know. But thanks so much for joining in. I'm gonna have to end it for now. Today's been a little bit busy and I've got more coming up tonight, so I don't want to go too long. Not a whole lot to talk about yet. But like I said, I'll try to do this whenever I see a lot of interesting things coming up to discuss or share, but streams are just going to be based on what comes in. So, see you guys next time. God bless.